you can wear a chain or you can wear a sacred thread under your around your neck, but it should be covered.
And also, female personnel, when it comes to makeup, they're not supposed to use any cosmetic items, is it?
Yes, correct. The cosmetic, there are restrictions on cosmetic items also, and you know, even there are restrictions on carrying of umbrella also.
The Indian Army has asked its personnel that they must adhere to official rules for wearing trinkets and religious symbols in uniform. These orders came after some army personnel were seen wearing religious markers, chains, and other accessories in recent social media posts. I have with me Manaman Singh, who covers defense for us. Manman, what are these? What was the necessary? Why was it necessary to reiterate these rules when it comes to the dress code of the army?
So what happens is that there are various regulations governing various matters in the army, and from time to time the army issues letters reiterating them as and when the need is felt. I many years back I had reported a similar letter which had gone out on a similar issue. In fact, more than 15 or 16 years back, and it was also similar in tenor. So in the recent case, the trigger seems to have been photographs of some senior officers which went viral on social media and attracted negative comments that they were photographed wearing a plethora of sacred threads on their wrist, on the right wrist, and wearing a tilak in uniform. And this was frowned upon by some people who said that, you cannot go around wearing so many threads or religious symbols or signet rings of various kinds. And that this is not included in the dress regulations of the army. So what the army did was that it issued another letter reiterating that these are our regulations regarding wearing of chains, trinkets, secret threads, etc. And this has to be adhered to, so that more such photographs don't get viral, and people adhere to whatever the regulations say. So that was the basic aim of issuing this letter.
So, there are little details like bracelets are not allowed, but kara is only allowed for a Sikh soldier, right? So, if you could tell us more about these sort of exceptions.
Yes. So what these regulations do is there are different categories under which they mention what is allowed and what is disallowed. And the one category is, of course, wearing of trinkets and chains. So that is a separate topic in itself. And what it says is that you can wear a chain or you can wear a sacred thread under your around your neck, but it should be covered. It should not be visible. If you have a sacred thread around your wrist, it can be a single thread which you wear after a havan, not multiple threads. Vibhuti or any kind of tilak which is put is not allowed in uniform. What happens is that normally the soldiers, officers and men, and women, of course, now they wear tilaks when there is a parade, mandir parade, as it is said in the army, or there's a function in the mandir which is going on, or a havan is held. In that period of time, everybody could be if you are in a field area, if you are in a forward location, you would be in uniform. And then, of course, you'll have a tilak in uniform. That's perfectly all right. But then you cannot be wearing it all the time. So for a limited period, it's all right. But otherwise, it is not allowed. Then there are various other regulations which concern, for example, sunglasses. Wearing of sunglasses is also frowned upon in uniform. There are the regulations regarding wearing of watches, whether a watch should be visible or not. There are instructions that it should not be visible, it should be covered up. There are instructions regarding wearing of fragrances, for example, like the regulations speak of disallowing wearing of deos and other similar things, but a shaving lotion is allowed. So these kind of, see, because it's a military and everything is regulated, you do not have the opportunity of exercising your free will in the military. Your fundamental rights are curtailed to a certain extent, because the army or the navy or the air force, they need to instill a sense of discipline. So all these regulations are laid down, and the soldiers as well as the officers are expected to adhere to them. And the higher you rise, for example, there was this general who was photographed wearing all these secret threads and tilak on his head in uniform, on his forehead in uniform. The higher you rise, the more your responsibility to ensure that you set up an example for your troops.
You mentioned sunglasses. In some cases they might be important too. So, and one associates sunglasses with, army personnel. So I was wondering how does that work?
It is seen as an accessory, or it is seen, as an item of jewelry. There are items of jewelry also which are listed, and since now we have women in the army, both as jawans as well as officers, those are also important. So anything, which is not really needed. Of course, there are places, for example, if you are serving in a high altitude area where there is a lot of snow and there is a reflection, you may have to wear sunglasses, or the regulation glasses which are issued by the army, or you are in the desert where you may need to. So there are relaxations also which are given. It is no, and the commanding officer has a variety of powers with him, wherein he can relax such regulations if the conditions so desire. But there are, for example, you may even question, why can't you wear a deo? It's a deodorant to stop body odor. But then, yeah, while some of the regulations might be archaic, but then there is a need to instill a uniformity, which the word uniform itself denotes in the army, and therefore everybody should be at the same level playing field.
Okay. What kind of rules are there in place for women soldiers?
Yeah, there are extensive rules now that we have a large number of women in the army. So, there are rules regarding whether they can wear a Mangalsutra, how they can wear a Mangalsutra, whether it should be visible or not, what kind of bangles can they wear, can they wear bangles, can they wear earrings, can they wear nose studs, can they have a nose piercing. So all these things are defined in these regulations, and what kind of hair can they have, what kind of manner in which the hair can be worn, whether they can have long tresses or not, or whether the hair should be in a bun. So all these things are mentioned as far as the women soldiers are also concerned.
Things like bindis are not permitted. Vermilion or sindoor is to be applied only if it's not visible when you are wearing a beret or a cap.
So
Similarly,
again, that,
yeah.
that that is because of the uniform, and while you are in uniform, you should look the same. You see, there should not be any difference in how you look and how another soldier looks. So therefore, when you are in uniform, you are not allowed to wear these things. When you are out of uniform, when you are wearing your civil dress, you are free to wear whatever you feel like.
And also female personnel, when it comes to makeup, they're not supposed to use any cosmetic items, is it?
Yes, correct. The cosmetic, there are restrictions on cosmetic items also, and you know even there are restrictions on carrying of umbrella also. So there is this definite Indian Army marked umbrellas which are to be used. You cannot be going around wearing those multicolored, holding those multicolored umbrellas which we get in the market. An army officer should not be seen using that umbrella. So these kind of things. For example, I'll tell you, since I write about military history also. Our first commander in chief of the Indian Army, who was an Indian, was Field Marshal Cariappa. And General Cariappa, at that time, he was not a field marshal. So General Cariappa had written a detailed letter on the conduct of officers and men uh, down the line, and he strictly frowned upon wearing of sunglasses in uniform and officers using umbrella. And just a few days back, the Chief of Army Staff, who has now retired, General Manoj Pandey, just a day or two before retiring, I think on the 20th or 29th of June, he was photographed flagging off a bike rally in Delhi under blinding rain. There was heavy rain which was coming, but he did not use an umbrella. There was another lieutenant general who was standing next to him. Both of them flagged it off under heavy rain. They were drenched, completely, they were drenched, but they did not use an umbrella. So that was a beautiful example of how the army regulations were being adhered to by the chief of army staff.
And just for the information of our viewers, like when it comes to women and cosmetics, female personnel wearing army uniform will not be allowed to wear any cosmetic, false eyelashes, eyeliner, kajal. Facial makeup is also not allowed. Nail varnish is not allowed. um, facial foundation cream that acts as sun protection agent may be applied and worn in field and outdoor operations only. Application of mehendi when in uniform on duty is also strictly prohibited. And when it comes to jewelry, if you could tell us, like, whether piercings are allowed or not, Manaman, if you could.
Piercings are allowed, but you cannot wear like it. From what I can recall, I don't have these restrictions, these regulations in front of me right now. But from what I can
Well, it's
recall
only
is that
for
you can
female
from
personnel.
females only, for
Fair.
females only,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
females only. But in uniform you can't wear no stud, for example, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And
Allowed
there
for
are
personnel,
restrictions
but no stud is to be worn in uniform. Yes.
in uniform. And then there is restriction on henna also, the mehendi, like you said. You can't be wearing mehendi while in uniform. So these are regulations which are quite strict. But as I said, some commanding of there's a newly married woman officer who has come. You can't expect the mehendi to vanish overnight from her hands, and you can't expect her to apply some chemicals to wipe it out. So a certain leeway may be given by the commanding officer or whoever she reports to. So these are broad guidelines which are to be adhered to, and sometimes enough leeway is given to the rank and file, and these may not be strictly implemented. But yes, when things go out of hand and people start doing what they feel like, then the army has to step in and issue such directions.
Okay. Thank you, Manaman. Thank you for giving us that information. As Manaman says, these are broad guidelines, and some at times leeway is also given to the army personnel. Thank you for joining Indian Express. For more videos like these, keep on watching our YouTube channel and do subscribe to us. Thank you.